as a guest, give us like the quick recap on who you are, where you come from, what you do, that whole thing.
Okay. I'm Daniel P. Reilly, the owner of whimsyland.org, literary coaching and services, and I am a self-published indie author. I've written, 7 published books, and even though I can't disclose what they are, I've also ghostwritten 3.
Nice. This is big money, right? Writing for other people?
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems to be how it works.
Right on. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about the work that you've done? Like that's a number of books. What's your area of expertise when it comes to writing? Are you a science fiction guy, fantasy guy, horror guy? What's your meat and potatoes?
I am a science fiction and fantasy guy. I do like horror, and I am working on a horror adjacent book currently. I say horror adjacent because the theme is horror born, but my take on it is a bit more adventure than your traditional scare factor stuff. But yeah, sci-fi and fantasy has been my genre since I want to say 8 years old. My uncle used to give me old pulp books that he finished with, and really inspired my love of reading, which also inspired my desire to write.
Okay. Now, your journey to being an author, we got into a little bit in the last show, but just in case people are coming at things new, how did that, your uncle's giving you pulp books, and then the next day you're 15 years old, you say, I'm going to become an author, and it's just, that's the trajectory from there.
No. That was my hope, but no, it didn't work out that way. I actually didn't start writing and publishing until, let's say 42. I am 45, so it's been 3 years. And but all my life I wanted to. I just kept hearing excuses not to and listening to them until pre-COVID. That's when I really got into the desire to follow that dream finally. That's what I did during the COVID lockdowns, was learn how to write.
Okay. And I'm curious because I know how it affected me. You're a parent. I know that there's a lot of things in my life that I felt pushed to do when I had a kid, because you don't want your kid to like not pursue their dreams, and who are you to tell them to do it if you're not doing the things that you want to be doing in life? Is that part of your story as well?
Very much so. I being a single parent, very different. You have to wear a ton of hats, and I put aside everything in order to facilitate the best life for my daughter, which was I had to go to school for my degree for the career that I had chosen, which was the safest route that I could take in order to give her the best life I could on a solo person salary. And that meant setting aside things that I wanted to do. But as she got older and I saw the type of person she was becoming and the things that she wanted to do, the same questions were coming up, for her, that I had never answered because I put it all aside to pay for her. And that was a good motivation for wanting to finally knuckle down and do this, especially with the backing of the business, which we talked about before. Reaching a point where I could sustain us on what I was making from Whimsyland was a big factor in a lot of the changes that I've made over the last year or two, actually 2 years. Yeah. And since then, she's taken to it. She's helping me with the business, and she's learning how to start to independently fund herself with her own skills and aspirations, which, there's nothing that can make me more proud as a parent.
Well, it's a big deal. Like, I know when I was let go from my last job, I made it a point that I was never ever going to work for somebody again. And, it's not been maybe the easiest year, we'll just say, but, cobbling together my income has been, I feel better as a person than I've ever felt prior to that. It's like, yeah, things are tight sometimes, but everything that's coming in, it's all me. I'm not relying necessarily on somebody to go out and make money for me or to give me a little bit of what they have, I guess. It's, hey, I do this work and I'll do it for you and let's make this happen. So like as a parent, I know how important that is. And I wish with the moment, I wish all I had to do was sit here and talk about books and I could get paid for that. That'd be the best thing. Like, I don't know. There's got to be a way to turn that into something I can monetize. But we're still working at it.
Well, if anybody's going to figure it out, it'll be you.
Now, you write fantasy books. I'm going to find this interesting because, the books of yours that I do actually have in my possession, the one of them has a katana wielding guy in a suit on the front cover, and the other one has what looks like a young man in full on superhero garb. And so when I think fantasy or science fiction, neither one of those is necessarily what I'm thinking of. The exception being that perhaps one of my favorite science fiction characters was a katana wielding guy named Hero Protagonist. So what's that about?
So there's a couple of different reasons. I'll go through them real quick with as we talk about each one. But basically, Jisadai, which is the katana wielding man in a suit, the story behind that one is a bit more sci-fi than it is fantasy, but it's set in a fantastical future of my own devising, and I call it cyberpunk-ish because it has some light themes in that direction, such as cybernetics, nanotechnology, some future tech, and some steps in the wrong direction because of future tech.